What's going on? What's going on, people? Good morning. Good morning. Happy to be here. Hopefully, everyone is here, tuned in, and ready to go. It's your boy, Jermaine McCrimmon, and this is Humanity Unplugged podcast. I am your host. I'm here to give you this power, this information, give you an understanding so therefore you could be on the up and up on what's to come and what's around you. As you know, guys, this is another day that God has made for us to be here, and we need to be glad and thankful in it. Mother's Day is on the way. For those of you that still have a mother that's living, you need to know you should be doing something for your mother, whether she was good or bad. It's still your mother. Don't hold it personal. Just do it from your heart, and it'll be returned to you. For those of us that mother have went on to be with God, our misfortunes is not to be able to touch, talk, and to eat the food they may have cooked that we like, or their presence, or even they smell, or to see them resting and you go give them a hug. That's something that we can never do again. But that love stays with us and grows with us as we get older. We pass it down the line. And hopefully we can share that with our kids and other people and share that love, so therefore it'll never die. I'm your host, Jermaine McCrimmon, and I'm sorry today is Wednesday and you guys haven't got that work already, but I'm a little under the weather. I know I sound like probably a caveman, but I'm a little bit under the weather, man. I'm sick, but I'm here. And I'm giving you this medicine, this stuff that you need to understand what's going on in our everyday life. So today, we're going to talk about in episode 134, the hantavirus. What is the hantavirus? And those that know, you know that we've been doing this for a little bit. We've been pushing out episodes to give out information in our community to help our community better understand what's going on. As you know, when it gets hot and it gets better outside, we like to travel. We like to, show off our bodies, and we like to go swimming. We like to go on vacation. We like to travel to these Caribbean islands. We like to fly out to festivities and festivals and just have a great time and try to enjoy what life we have. Unfortunately, we have war, we have gas prices at the all-time high. Trump is still trumping, and we got to do what we got to do just to maintain. So amongst that, we still find some type of peace of mind in our everyday struggle. For those are the people that's in HBCUs and you guys are doing your thing in college, I salute you. For all the kids that's in regular colleges, I salute you. For all the mothers and fathers that get up and make it happen every day, whether thick or thin, for the loss or for the win, I salute you too. For people, all the listeners all over the world that we reach out to, for all the 22, 23 countries, continents that we reach out to, we like to thank you guys for communicating with us, for sharing with us, for staying focused with us, even when we're not on point, giving you that information every Tuesday and Thursday. Things do happen, but we thank you guys for staying locked in with us. So, the hantavirus is an outbreak. You can only conceive it through the feces or the urine of a rat, mice, and things like that. Now, we know it's on a ship right now, and a bunch of people, 150, maybe 125 people are on this ship with 17 American people that's there, and people dying. 3 people have died, passed away, unfortunately. Do we know exactly, is it from the hantavirus or not? We don't know. It could be, maybe not. We don't know exactly, but where it is right now, things is effed up. These people cannot get back home. Their families don't know what's going on. And to be all honest with you, your ass is going to have to stay out there for a while. Excuse my French. I know you miss your family members and you want to see them again. Until we get a hold of what it is, you're going to have to stay on that out. You're going to have to stay out there. And for those of you who don't know, there's no cure for this. There's no cure for the hantavirus. There's not like you take a B52 or B tablet or whatever, give you a shot in your arm and you back well tomorrow. That ain't it. Most people that get this, you up out of here. At least that's what they're saying. They're saying also they need about 8 weeks to 9 weeks to understand what's fully going on and whether or not people are infected with this virus. Now, I don't know about you, that's a long time on a ship, but I'm talking about the nation, United States, America, all the people here, and you guys went out there, you got, unfortunately, you might have got it by going into a cave. You could have got it by a cave that had feces and urine, and you inhaled it, boom. You could have got it by a rat, or mice would have been through the cruise ship, whatever the case may be, but you got infected by it, and now it's hitting. Now, the question, when you look at the hantavirus, people saying that you cannot be affected by it by person to person. Well, I'm here to tell you that the 2 people that died out of 3, one was a man and his wife got infected, or he passed. And for the wife to get off the plane, she collapsed at the airport and she died. Now, if that is so, whatever she got off, whether it was a plane, boat, ship, submarine, a bike, whatever she was that human people are in contact, is it possible that she might have got infected by this same hantavirus? That she might have got other people infected by it? Right now it's on the cruise, but who knows where it could be so fast. Just like COVID-19, as you know, back in 2020, America was shut down. Trump knew about this a long time ago because it hit over in China, but yet we did nothing about it. It's just another, every time Trump get elected, a virus get broken loose. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about the what ifs. I'm not, allegedly. I don't know nothing. Who am I? But we are understanding that every time we in a crisis or something going on, something else is put out there to distract. We still don't know what's going on with the Epstein files. What's going on, man? How come we still don't know what's going on with the Epstein files? We got everything else going on, but no one dropping that on there. What's up? Is anybody still looking at that? It's crazy. So I'm here to just bring awareness to the fact of what's going on. And we're going to get into it right now. We thank you guys for listening. We thank you guys for sharing our information. We're going to keep pushing because that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We don't stop, can't stop, won't stop. Here goes some information for you guys. You can check it out for yourself. Here you go. Let's go.
3 people are dead and at least 3 others are sick after a suspected outbreak of what's called hantavirus aboard a cruise ship. Now, the vessel is currently anchored off the coast of Africa with nearly 150 people on board while health officials try to figure out next steps. Here's CNN's Larry Madoa.
A suspected outbreak of hantavirus on board this cruise ship crossing the Atlantic Ocean. The MV Hondius, operated by Oceanwide Expeditions, departed Ushuaia on the southern tip of Argentina over a month ago. Details of the suspected outbreak emerged as it was anchored in Praia, the capital of Cape Verde, an island nation off the coast of West Africa, on Sunday. One American travel blogger on board issuing this tearful message.
We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people. People with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. There's a lot of uncertainty, and that's the hardest part. All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home.
Cape Verdean authorities have refused to allow anyone to disembark. However, local health authorities visited the ship and assessed 2 symptomatic crew members requiring urgent medical care.
Imagine being able to...
I'm sorry, guys. A little commercial. We're going to let it run. You won't hear it. Here we go.
Said in a statement. There are 17 Americans among the 149 people on board, according to Oceanwide. The company told CNN it is, quote, currently focused on the health and safety of passengers and crew. Humans most commonly get infected with hantavirus through contact with rodents like mice or rats, especially their urine, droppings, and saliva, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. Early symptoms include fatigue, fever, and muscle aches, as well as headaches, dizziness, chills, and abdominal problems. Human-to-human transmission is rare, the World Health Organization says.
To have this many people clustered together on a ship, most public health officials would be looking for human-to-human transmission, and I'm sure this is going to be investigated tremendously, but that would be where the arrows are pointing right now.
So far, it's not clear how the suspected infections on the ship occurred. The first death on board this ship happened April 11. The body of a 70-year-old Dutch man was taken to the island of St. Helena, a remote island in the South Atlantic, according to South Africa's Department of Health. His wife later collapsed at an airport while trying to fly home and died in hospital. At this time, it is not confirmed that these two deaths.
Now, see, if you guys listen, the wife collapsed getting off the airplane at an airport, and she died in the hospital. So other people might have got infected by this. Just off that alone. Don't know.
Are connected to the current medical situation on board, the operator said. The World Health Organization says it is facilitating between member states and the ship's operators on a full public health risk assessment, but added, quote, the risks to the wider public remains low. There is no need for panic or travel restrictions. Larry Medowo, CNN.
Thanks to Larry Medowo for that report. Joining us now to discuss, Dr. Megan Ranney, the Dean of Yale Medical School. It's so good to see you again, Dr. Ranney. Last time you were here, we were talking about, I believe, a different virus altogether, the coronavirus. If hantavirus is not normally transmitted from person to person, how is it possible, do you think, that multiple people on the ship have the virus?
Yeah, a hantavirus outbreak on a cruise ship was not on my top 50 or even 100 things that I would worry about for a cruise ship. I and other experts really think there are three possibilities here. The first is that a bunch of folks were exposed when they were traveling off the ship. Maybe they went to a cave or to a house that had rodent droppings that got aerosolized and they all got infected there. The second possibility, which would worry me if I were a cruise ship owner, is that there were mice or other rodents on the cruise ship that were running around and exposed a bunch of folks. The third possibility, and the one that most worries folks like me, public health experts, emergency physicians, is the possibility that there could be person-to-person transmission. And Jake, here's the important part. There has been a report of one strain of hantavirus in Argentina, known as the Andes strain, which is known to cause limited person-to-person transmission. Many of us are worried that it may be that strain that got onto the boat and that may be spreading, but it's far too early to know.
So hantavirus is highly deadly. The CDC says more than a third of people who develop respiratory systems may then die. There's also no cure for hantavirus. So the passengers and crew who are being treated right now, and they may have the virus. What does that care, what does that treatment look like?
So we would care for them just as we would for anyone with a severe critical illness. If they're having breathing trouble, we might put them in a medical coma and put in a breathing tube. If their blood pressure is having trouble maintaining itself, we'd give them fluids and medications to support their blood pressure. We might treat their kidneys. We'd probably give them antibiotics. An important thing to know about a hantavirus diagnosis is that it is tough to make. It's almost always a lab that we have to send out of the hospital. It's not my first, fifth, or even 10th thing on my differential diagnosis. And so you want to treat folks for everything that could be causing their symptoms while waiting for that send out test to come back.
So passengers are not currently allowed to get off the ship. Once they finally dock, will there have to be some kind of extensive testing to make sure the virus is contained? What do the next steps look like?
So trying to figure out what the next steps are as we speak. I will say this is where I am so grateful for other great public health experts, and particularly for the expertise of the World Health Organization and other folks that work on pandemic preparedness. As Larry said, this is a very rare virus. We've had less than 1,000 cases in the United States in the last 20 years. The fact that we have international experts working to figure out what's happening with spread and what we should do next is amazing. Most likely, when folks get off of that ship, there will be some quarantine, but it is far too early to tell. We'll know a lot more in coming days as we start getting genomic data about whether this spread between people, where it came from, and so on.
How is the World suspected outbreak? Joining me now is Dr. Hans Klug. He's the Europe Director for the WHO. Thank you so much for joining us. I imagine you're very busy with this. What's the current plan whilst you figure out how to contain the virus? Is it to keep everyone on the ship and certain individuals isolated?
Well, this is the first reported outbreak of the hantavirus on a cruise ship. So that's a bit a new territory, but the virus itself is not new. Indeed, it's carried by rodents. People get contaminated through inhaling particles, mostly from feces or urine. There were 5 suspected patients or people. 3 unfortunately pass away. 2 people are on the ship, but are under medical care by the authorities of Cabo Verde, and 1 laboratory confirmed patient is in the intensive care unit in South Africa. No. It's very important for the public to realize that the overall risk to the public remains low. It's very tough to be transmitted human to human, though not impossible.
When will people be allowed off the ship?
So there is an international coordination between all the authorities 24/7, which also, by the way, shows why international collaboration in these times are so important. And new information will be available very, very soon.
So they have no idea when they're going to be allowed off. I'm just assuming once you get the all clear that everyone's got better, they will be allowed to get off, or is the plan not to allow anyone to get off in case it spreads beyond the ship?
As we speak, the medical authorities of Cabo Verde are on the spot, examining the people, making the diagnosis. We're in touch with them, and immediately if there's new information, we will share that one.
But you're not going to allow people off, are you, presumably, until you know?
Well, the examinations have to be obviously concluded, and the relevant authorities are following the protocols. What we're doing is connecting, putting all the data together, but also already making some progress with some medical evacuations of severely ill people.
Because the symptoms don't appear for weeks, do they? I'm just thinking it could be weeks before you know who's got it.
Indeed, the incubation can sometimes take up to 8 weeks. And that's why the basic hygienic and sanitary measures are to be put in place, but it doesn't mean that there will be a waiting time for 8 weeks. So let's do the, let's say, the next update as soon as we have the new information. But meanwhile, I think I would like to stress that one, that the overall risk to the public remains low. I mean,
islands in the South Atlantic had requested help from local health authorities after making its way there to where it was supposed to be docking on the island of Cape Verde. It's off the west coast of Africa. No one has been allowed to disembark. That's according to the Netherlands-based operator Oceanwide Expeditions and what they had to say in an official statement. We've been following the story closely here at Live Now from Fox, and there's a lot to discuss in terms of what we can expect and possibly what passengers are going through at this time. Joining us next to get into all of the details is Dr. Celine Gounder. She's the editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News, infectious disease specialist, and also an epidemiologist. Good morning, Celine. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Carl.
So, pretty scary situation, at least from how we're looking at it here on land. So, first off, let's get down to the basics for our viewers. Hantavirus. What is it? What are its symptoms? And really, what is the possibility of death once someone contracts that virus?
Hantavirus is really a family of viruses that are transmitted by rodents. So mice, rats, usually it's transmitted when rat droppings or mice droppings or urine are aerosolized into the air. Sometimes it's when people are cleaning something up, say in the garage or the basement. And that causes Hantavirus Pulmonary Syndrome, in other words, a severe viral infection of the lungs. It can also cause kidney failure, heart failure. And so the symptoms can be wide ranging, but very often they're pulmonary symptoms, lung symptoms.
What's interesting about that is that with these symptoms, I was reading up on it as well, they kind of look like the flu at first. So really distinctly, when does that change, turning from, okay, I possibly have the flu, I possibly have the cold, to now I know that I have something that's potentially way more dangerous? I mean, what kind of testing is even done to figure that out?
Well, it's done in the context of an exposure usually. So hantavirus is exceedingly rare. To put that into perspective, in the United States, we've had 900 cases in 30 years. And most of those cases have been in the Four Corners area in the United States. So we don't go testing everyone for hantavirus. You really need to have had an exposure, a risk factor, in order to prompt testing. So in this case, we know people have been exposed on the cruise ship, and people who are developing symptoms are being tested.
So I'm glad you mentioned this, the people who were exposed on the cruise ship. It leads me to a social media post here, courtesy of Reuters. Following this closely, they included a video of one of the passengers as he was speaking about his experience. But they say this: medics were working to evacuate two people with symptoms of the deadly hantavirus after a suspected outbreak on a cruise ship held off the West Africa, according to officials. Again, 150 people still on that ship. So let's get into possibly the challenges, Celine, when you have an outbreak of a virus that could potentially be deadly and people are stuck on a cruise ship. I mean, how unique is that situation in terms of containment and making sure that people stay safe?
Well, keeping people on the ship, essentially quarantining them on the ship, is part of preventing transmission, because we don't know for sure, is this the typical hantavirus that is caused by aerosolization of rodent droppings and urine, or is it, there is rarely a person-to-person spread. The type of hantavirus involved is called the Andes virus. That Andes virus is found in Argentina and Chile. This boat left from Argentina. So we don't yet know, are we dealing with the usual hantavirus? Are we dealing with Andes virus? And until then, you really do want to keep people on the ship to prevent further onward transmission. But as you can imagine, that's super scary. You're in the middle of cluster of cases of a highly deadly virus and don't know how those other people got infected. I really feel badly for those who are stuck on the ship right now.
You mentioned there the different places that this cruise ship has gone to, specifically Argentina, which is possible that that's where this virus was first contracted. Earlier today, I was listening into a briefing from the United Nations. They also expressed similar a perspective that they don't think it started on the ship, but more likely somewhere that they had docked previously. But this cruise ship not only went to Argentina, it went to a lot of other isolated, smaller islands. Does that add another layer of complexity when trying to track down the origin of the virus?
Possibly, if there were rodents in some of those other islands, on some of those other islands, that would also raise some questions. Those are islands that are also unlikely to have people, if any at all. So it does help narrow in certain respects. But big picture, what needs to happen here is a really thorough investigation. So beyond testing and typing which type of hantavirus, they need to identify the source of transmission, the mechanism of transmission, and then in addition, tracking what happened aboard the ship. Were there certain safety lapses? Are there issues with a rodent infestation on the ship? This is really where public health agencies step in. And unfortunately, we're dealing with our own CDC, which has been gutted. The US has pulled out of the World Health Organization. And those are precisely the folks who get called in a situation like this.